Oh, hey, how you doing, folks? Paul with you. Good afternoon. It's not too often I get emotional when I watch these videos, and I must say that I did with this one, and I am going to put the link up for you so you can watch this. Folks, I do not know what comes over men. Possibly women. I don't know if women can do it. It's, I believe it's a mainstay of the male gene. It's like a fight or flight reaction. And this is absolutely baffling. We had a cargo plane here. I'm going to put this up so you can see it yourself. Oh, by the way, I met a famous football player yesterday, and he ranked inferior to Tom Brady. I will just say that. And he's a nice guy. I met him last night, and he came in, and I said, I know who you are. I know who you are. And he kind of smiled. And then I told him, I said, I was rooting for you. I was in the Philippines, and most of the people at that bar were rooting for the Eagles. And I said, they were not rooting for the New England Patriots. And I said, I was rooting for you. But you went up against a monster. See, that was the problem. So I got him in, and hopefully I'll see him again. I'm not going to say anything to him. I'm going to give him a book, and God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. I bought it today, but I bought it too late. So I bought, I think, 3 copies. But regardless, 4. Because I always give them away, because it's my job to be a God. That's my job, not your job. That's my job. So when I take a book that doubles your IQ, how can I not be a God, right? I mean, you can read it online or have it read to you. I think YouTube has it. But for me, for my money, it's in God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. Yeah, I'm going to go through a lot of liquid today. It is very hot. But let's move forward. We had an Airbus, a 26-year-old Airbus at the time. So it must have been going back. I guess it was in the Iraq War. So what was that? Mid-90s, wasn't it? It was later than mid-90s. I think it was like 99 or something like that. No. It was right when Fox came out. Fox TV. So I guess it's around 2000. So this aircraft must have been from around 77, 78. And folks, I didn't want to have a Mongoloid child because they miss out on so much. Or a child with real low intelligence, they lose out on so much that you can see that's so beautiful with the concept of understanding. That's why I'm here. That's what I do. I help you to understand. It's just like in a simple way. Let's say you have sex with one woman, right? You wouldn't understand the difference between 2 women and 1 woman. It's just one different, right? But when you really understand it, it makes a difference. You understand? So I'm here to try to make you understand things that you're really not capable of understanding in its reality or in its I was going to say basis, but sometimes things sound different than what they are. They sound easier when they are not. In this case, we had 3 pilots. We had 2 from, the main pilot was from, what the hell is the name of that country? Belgium, okay? The other one was also in the flight engineer. I forgot what he was, but he was Arab or something. I forgot now. I don't remember. But they were taking off, and their idea was to take the mail from U.S. soldiers and send it back to the United States. And that's what that airplane was there for. There was no passengers, only the 3 pilots and the cargo, which was mail, as far as I know. But who knows? That's what the cover story was. Well, they took off without incident. They got up a little ways, and one of the Allah Akbar crew there decided to shoot a shoulder fire missile, which was not very powerful. It had some power to it, but as you know, a shoulder fire missile is different than a SAM missile, which is essentially the same thing. But the SAM missile is huge. You're not surviving that. But they shot it toward the aircraft, and what surprised me was how fast the missile was. I did not know that they were so incredibly fast where you could actually see it. Stand by. Oh, hey folks, don't know where I've left off, so I'm going to come back to it again. I'm in a real quagmire. I'm a person that understands the difference because I've been there, and I'm very, very low on money right now. And it's the first time in a long, long, long time that's happened. But don't forget, I've raised a kid, you know, and take care of a wife for 12 years without seeing them. So I'm in a real quagmire here. I'm scheduled to get a beautiful truck, which the man was nice enough to bring over to let me test drive, and it drove beautiful. And I'm supposed to get it on Monday, and it's going to take every bit of money that I have. And it's really hard on this channel. I don't expect people to really understand it. Maybe the older people, you know, that are ex-jerking circle Boy Scouts and stuff like that, they might understand all this. I don't know. But I have almost a love affair with my car. And I don't love it. It's been like, you know, like when you're married and you beat each other up, but you love each other, and the police are always coming to your house and arresting you too, or whatever it is. That's kind of like the relationship with my car. When, you know, everything went wrong with the car. When the window wouldn't roll down, and it's 120 degrees in the car, you just deal with it, right? When whatever happened with the car, you had to just deal with it. You know, the gas tank, it would, you know, like when you hit the lock, it wouldn't unopen. You have to leave it open. And the lights would go off for 2 days. What did you do? You didn't do anything because you knew that this car would heal itself. So I had no lights. I had to run on the running lights, which is just the soft lights, and it had a pair of fog lights, and that's how I had to run the car for 5-6 days. What happened? It healed itself. It did it again, and within a day or two, it healed itself. So I have a very, very strange, very unorthodox relationship with this car, and I've become very close to it. It's almost like Herbie the Love Bug. It's a bug for all, you know, for goodness sakes. And I don't know. I just feel like it deserves something more. But if getting that car, I have to junk the bug. And I just feel like it deserves better. I mean, you know, you get $300 out of it. You know what I mean? But, excuse me, folks, it is really thirsty. I'm really thirsty. And you got to drink about every 2 minutes or 3 minutes. or you overheat. And I'm in the air conditioning. So the whole magnitude of this thing is getting on me. And I know how much danger I'm in going into that truck, but the truck is a nice truck. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So last night, when I went to sleep, I had a kind of calmness that I haven't had in a long time. And then today, the money aspect starts to roll around my back of my mind and toward the front of my mind, and it's very concerning. And the option remains, don't get the vehicle and you can use your vehicle as long as it'll run, which it might run for a while. So I don't know what to do. And I probably won't have an answer until Friday. I'll probably wait until then. But I'm going to try to get it, because this little car is nearing the end of its service life. And I love it to death. And you know, I can't explain it to you, but it was the first car that I've had where I bought wax, and when I waxed the car, it was so beautiful, so much like a toy, that it was just really fun, you know? And I guess that's a great deal of my emotional distress right now, and the lowering of my money so much to critical danger. But I think I'm going to have to do it and take a risk. I mean, what can I do, right? I got a great deal on it. So that's, if you see me like I don't know what I'm doing, that's kind of where I'm at, all right? So we'll get back to this this plane. Took off. It's a DHL plane, A300 Airbus, which I happen to think more of right now, because I didn't think the French knew how to do anything except for make love with their faces, frankly. But they evidently built a pretty good plane. Now, they were up. They shot a shoulder rocket at it. I was so amazed at how fast they went. Almost just immediately. It wasn't like a build-up. It was just immediate. It hit the plane with the 3 pilots on board and the mail for the soldiers' families. And who knows anything else. That's the cover story. It hit the left wing, looking forward on the aircraft. It ruptured the hydraulic lines, which is a virtual death sentence. I'll try to explain to you what that means, because a lot of people don't understand. They think, hydraulic, use hydraulic fluid. It's 10 weight 40 motor oil. That's all hydraulic fuel, hydraulic fluid really is. I know, because I've got a little bit of, more than a little experience with it. So when you get a regular, big, heavy lawnmower, that lawnmower has to push itself. And the way it does it is 2 ways. It has a gear which turns the wheels at the same time. And if you want to make a turn to the left, you squeeze the handle, and then it stops giving power to the left. It holds up the band, the rubber band there, the black rubber band, and it continues to go on this side, so it turns. That's one way. That works okay until the belt gets wet, or until you go into a steep embankment, and then it may not work so well. And the water makes a big difference too. If it's wet, which is not uncommon in the summer, it's a problem. So the way that they dealt with that in the lawn business is that they created a hydrostatic mower or you could call it a hydro mower. What they do is it's different. They have not a transmission like this that's like a main gear, and then you have two bands and it feeds the same power to both the wheels via a belt on each side. This one's different. There's no belt. It works by a fluid link. And what that means is that there are motors on each side. And those hydro motors, they run on hydraulic fluid, essentially 10-weight 40 synthetic oil. And through pressure, not through gears really, through pressure, carried by thick lines on each side, two thick black rubber lines, it makes a pressure which builds up and allows that mower to turn. If it leaks, you're screwed, and that's how you get bad, that's how you lose your mower. If the hydraulics leak and it leaks that oil out, you have to keep adding oil. If it's, by the day or by the week, you have to add a little oil. And when it gets bad enough, it just runs out and you'll only get one side that operates, so it'll only turn in a circle. That's what hydraulic means. That's an average person's way of understanding it. And that's what planes use to steer the aircraft and to go up and down, because you have different surfaces on the wings. When you drop it down, that's hydraulics. And if you don't have full pressure, it doesn't work, or it works not correctly. And when something happens and it blows out the line, it all leaks out. And that's exactly what happened to this plane. The plane got hit in the wing stayed together, but it took a tremendous part of the wing off and blew out the hydraulic fluid. So the plane had no more hydraulic fluid. So how do you make a turn? How do you go up? How do you go down? How do you yaw? That thing in the back which goes like this and allows the plane to slip sideways and turn. Well, you can't do that anymore. They learned this from Flight 232, American Airlines in Sioux City. The pilots had an explosion on one of their engines, obviously in the rear. And the explosion blew out the hydraulics on Children's Day. And a lot of children died on that flight because it was Children's Day. They flew for free. I think there were 191 people on that flight. About 102 perished. It was right around 100. And about 90 people survived. How? Because you had a pilot that was one of the best pilots that I ever saw in my life. And this one is right up there with him. However, this pilot, I think it was in '89, this pilot already knew. He already knew about what the pilot did coming down in Sioux Falls. He knew, and he had read on that, and they had taught him that the pilot had lost all hydraulics 30,000 feet in the air. And the pilot had to come down. Now, what saved him? Just an incredible refusal of defeat. And there was a designer of the aircraft that was coincidentally on the flight, and he came in to help fly the plane because it's like power steering on a car. If you don't have it, it's hard to turn. Stand by. Oh, hey folks, so here we are in the middle of this, and I just got distracted here. But anyways, this pilot was able to bring down the aircraft with the help of that guy that was a passenger who was he had developed that plane. So he had some knowledge about it. I forgot his name now. Hero, for sure. Helped land that plane and save 90 lives. The pilot kept an incredible wit to him, as essentially he was naked at 30,000 feet in front of all. It's astonishing. He could not steer. So the only thing he could do was he steered with his engines. In other words, if you give more power to this one, to the right side, it will turn to the left. If you reduce the power on this side and you increase the power on the left side, it will turn to the right. Now I know that because I bought a radio-controlled airplane which essentially flew like that. It's a very primitive one. I got it for like $35 or something, long time ago. Did okay in like a no wind or anything, but the minute the wind picked up, it crashed, which it did. So I know about it. The flight controller said to the aircraft pilot in the aircraft, he said that he was free to land on 24 right, which meant runway 24. This guy couldn't even steer the aircraft. Forget about getting to a runway. How about getting down to the ground, period? So the pilot giggles and he goes, he says, really, a runway? You're getting a little picky, aren't you? And he's laughing about it. He's got 191 people, many will die. It's amazing what that man went through. They came down not exactly right. The plane fell out of the air at around 20 feet and crashed and burned. So that's what happened with this plane. It was coming down, and because he knew of this, he knew to transfer the engine speed back and forth. And that's what he did, with a crippled wing that was on fire. The co-pilot asked to take over the plane. He said no. He said, I'm in control of this aircraft. They came down and they couldn't get it right. So when they tried to land, they were too high and too close to the airport. So he had to go back around and make a turn, of all things. You ready for this? 35 kilometers or 38 kilometers out. They had to go do that and then turn around and come back. Can you believe this? So they did. And the pilot did the best he could. They dropped the landing gear. The landing gear wouldn't come down. So the co-pilot had to take a wrench and manually bring down the landing gear. It finally came down. It disrupted the dynamics of flight and it threw them for a loop. But after a period of time, it stabilized the aircraft. And they were able to come down on the runway, but the plane was going so fast that they could not hold it, and it went off to the left, and it actually went off onto the side of the airport, the side of the landing strip. And they hugged each other and gave themselves credit, and then they got up and they evacuated, which was the next step, and they stepped off the aircraft. And this American kid they had some Apache helicopters that were around them. I think they had two of them. They had one for sure, and he was protecting them because they were trying to fire a second shoulder fire rocket, which would have spelled doom for that airplane. So the Apache helicopter was just a kid. He might have been like 19 or 20 years old, and he had a heavy Georgia accent, would be my guess. And just listening to it, you hear the superiority, even though they're from the South and they got it wrong in the 1800s. They're the best people in the world. I mean, how can they not be? Really? And you can see that superiority even from the south of this country, the complete superiority. And when you listen to this man speak, the man from Belgium, he was hard to understand, but you could understand him. I think the other guy was from France or something. I think they speak French, but it was so hard to understand, and such a thing of beauty when English is spoken well, without liaison, like the British are so fond of. It is liaison or liaison. It's when you mix the endings of one word to the beginning of the next word. And Americans don't like it because it's not common in our language. Twas. This blending, and they do it with a lot of different words, and it's really throws muck into the language. So you get the idea watching this video just with these few words that this Georgia kid or Arkansas, whatever he was from, tell how superior his language was to any other language on earth. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it is true. So I won't carry on any further. Watch this. It is really worth the watch. And believe it or not, we'll find another one where the pilots didn't even have that. And I believe it was the American Airlines, 232 there in Sioux City, I think. I'm not sure they had any motor power either. I think their engines were blown out too. And I believe the way they steered that aircraft was they transferred fuel from one wing to the other wing, thereby making the other wing a little heavy and dipping. It's unbelievable, folks. When you look at men, they're incredible. Many of the pilots, not all of them, of course, and not all men, but some men are really, really incredible. So I leave it at that. Have a good day. Check out this link below. What an amazing pilot, albeit Belgium. And I give him all the credit in the world. He was one of the best pilots that has ever piloted a ship, an airship. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Subscribe, be nobody. Remember, this is a big jerking circle of 62 to 68-year-old men. No matter. I appreciate them being here because we know what's going on. We know what time it is, right? Later. Take care. See you maybe later with the news. Bye.